board.
Yep.
And Colette will be here in person at our next meeting, correct?
Yep, I think it's the same day that we just scheduled that pre-construction meeting, right? So.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good evening, folks. It's about 5:30. We'll get going here in just a minute. We have all four council members in house, along with myself, Melody Martinson from Decantha, and Clerk Fraunfelter is running the camera. And Colette Anderson from Great West is online with us as well. You have 5:30, Mel? Good evening, everybody. It is 5:30. We will call the city council meeting for the city of Choteau, February 7th to order. Those present will rise and do the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jody is home tonight, not feeling well today this afternoon. Ashley's been out sick and she thought she was getting some of Ashlyn's stomach, so she may join us online, but I don't know if she will or not.
Who's that?
Jody.
Okay.
First item is the approval of the minutes, city council 17 January.
I move approval of the minutes.
I have a motion from Councilman D,
I'll second.
a second from Councilwoman Capoli. Any changes or additions, corrections?
Do you have a correction? The preliminary discussion was vote to move to the next meeting.
Oh, I thought we corrected that, but we did not.
Let's read that.
Ask that we move the discussion to the next council meeting. After.
Okay, yep, that's right. Sorry,
Okay.
my bad.
Thank you. We fixed that when we.
No, I only caught the last sentence.
Yeah, when
The other very
we
end.
fixed the thing, then, okay.
Thank you.
So there are no changes, no corrections? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Are you leaving the state again, Councilman?
Probably not.
Okay. Anyone?
No, my wife and daughter decided to go without me.
Sir, you're home.
Son, I mean,
I'm not leaving the state, I'm leaving town again, but, okay. Unfinished business, preliminary discussion of social media policy. Councilman D, I'll let you kind of explain this.
Yep, so this is something that's been in the works for, I don't know, about 5 years since before. I joined the council when Mayor Canasser was still in office. The reason this is important to me is because out of the Fourth Circuit, there were some rulings that came down that like politicians and political governmental pages can't ban users. They need to have policies to make sure that due process is followed in terms of preserving a free speech medium and the comments section of a Facebook page or an Instagram page or Twitter that all constitutes a free speech public discussion type of venue. And so I just wanted to make sure that we're covered on that we have policies on that. Since the Mayor Hindoin's been posting pretty regularly on our Facebook page. We've gained a lot of people who are on there commenting and all sorts of stuff. I have a social media page for me as an office holder. So those are the two big things. That we have an Instagram page for the city. Those are the big things that kind of are specifically targeting in this. This is boilerplate. There's policy for employees. There's some frustration with that from the employees, and I'm completely fine striking that part of the deal of the policy. But I think we need to look at the elected officials and public forum stuff in particular, and just make sure that we have something in place that allows for If there is a user who is abusive or, is violating whatever, we have a mechanism in place, a policy in place to address that. And that's really what the goal of this is for me.
So as I read through this, and I'm weighing in from the mayor,
Mhm.
I mean, we have 10 people. And I believe that our current policy manuals take care of this. If an employee was to,
Right.
go,
And there's definitely times, use cases where employees need to be posting
yeah.
information about street closures.
And I would
or
like to have all 10 of our employees have that ability, because on a weekend, if something goes wrong and Mike's
Someone
gone,
needs
Joe's
access.
gone, Tom's gone, I'm gone, you're gone, those guys have to have access to get it out there and have
Absolutely.
no fears that what they're posting is going to be misconstrued in any way, shape, or form. We're a small enough family that I have no issues with those 10 people having access to that, and
Yep.
I believe that our policy manual for our employees covers this for them. Now, for those of us who are elected officials, I think we sit down, we put something together, and we bring it back to the council and say, the policies are in place for our employees, and they've been stricken from this policy.
Mhm.
And this is a policy in place for elected officials. The difference being, the next set of elected officials could come in here
Yeah, absolutely.
and absolutely change it. I know that you're a social media darling, Councilman Howard. So
Yeah, this is nothing but an irritant to me.
I can tell by the highlights.
Yeah, so, yeah, striking the employees, I'm all for that.
Mhm.
What they do in their personal time when they're off the clock is none of our business.
Agree completely. Like I said, this was boilerplate, just something for us to work off, so.
Yep, yeah, I mean, yeah, this is nothing but a start. You're nowhere near close.
And I think it exempts the employees, and it deals, to be honest with you, it deals with me more than anybody.
You and I both. I mean,
Yeah,
you
And
and I
the
are
other
both
thing,
supposed
the
to
due
be-
process needs to be defined,
Fair enough.
what it will be.
It's in our mind,
How-
in our policy book, it would have,
We have-
we'd have to figure out the do, and I believe Montana code would dictate that.
Yeah.
So I guess my ask would be, and if it's all right with Steve, my ask would be, is it all right with you guys if we strike the employees out of this and we work on one strictly for an elected officials thing to bring back for you guys to look at?
I would be very comfortable with that.
Yeah, but then at the same time, employees during the day, if need to post some public notices.
Oh, yeah, they're
still.
gonna be out there.
Yeah, so
They'll be
they
removed.
wouldn't mention them, so they would post what they need to. Yeah.
I right down to the garbage men who I don't think work for me.
I mean,
Work for the city should have access to it if they have an issue.
if you can't post. Let me get my glasses. If we have to do nothing but reflect positively, what's the point?
Oh, yeah.
If you can't. I would rather somebody just comes in the council meeting, calls us on the phone. You're sitting home at night, you're having a couple cocktails, you feel a little uppity and you get on the social media. Yeah, no,
No.
let's just. I just assumed the whole thing went away. We never corresponded that way, but you know what? That's not gonna happen.
Unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, that's,
I let that cat out of the bag, no doubt about it.
There's just one guy you're never gonna get on the other side, though.
Can I comment real quick?
Yep.
Yeah. Away from the whole employee and elected official part of it, I have been to some different classes throughout the year, media, and I would agree, we probably do need something in writing that just goes over, these are the facts we plan on using, we're gonna follow the statutes and the rule on, proper posting and public comments, or,
yeah.
yada, yada. It would probably be good to spell that part of it out,
I think that's valid. In my mind, it's not any different than if there's someone who comes to our meetings regularly and is disruptive. We have a mechanism to ban them from meetings because they're, yeah, and this is taking this and transposing it for media.
social media.
Yeah, that's it.
So,
That's the goal.
so
I think the difference is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, because I haven't looked at the new legislation, but they are all now free speech platforms. Is that correct?
pretty much
So,
been,
If it's a city owned, operated Facebook or our social media page, yeah.
Well, but even our personal pages, because we are elected officials, it's a gray area.
Not
No.
for our personal ones.
not according to one of the circuits, it was a fourth circuit.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
If it's, so like I have Steve D. Doyako's Facebook page,
Right,
separate from my Steve D page.
right.
The Steve D. Doyakos is my official political politician page, which I use in my capacity as councilman. Whereas my Steve D one is personal.
So it would behoove of us, if we're going to use it for political purposes, to have a separate.
Yes, that's correct.
And make sure that three of you are never talking about the same item.
You're
Yeah,
exactly right.
exactly.
You're exactly right.
I never thought about that, Councilman, but it could be considered an ex parte communication, as Mel's nodding over there.
Illegal meeting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mhm. You know, and you miss something and you type in and two people are already in it and you happen to see it. And
yeah,
you just miss something, you know, and all of a sudden there's three of you there.
that's a good point. So I guess my question is, you guys have any heartburn if Steve D and I sit down and try and come up with something as short as possible and to bring back?
Go for
Since it's just a preliminary discussion,
I'll read it again. That's
it.
Hey, Tom, we make sure Steve gets a green highlighter this time so he can know the difference between those things. So Councilman D and I will sit down and start chomping on something about this.
Thank you.
But along, as we're talking about social media, we talked about it, what's happening in the legislature, House Bill 328, if it were passed, would require us to stop the process in which we are doing this now, create our own system and broadcast, record, translate, transpose, and have everything out to the public within 24 hours. And then we, as a local government entity, would be required to maintain that up to the statutes and things along those lines. And talking to Neil with the city of Belgrade, that's over 6 figures a year they currently spend on that.
that's
And
for
they
not just
don't
city council,
record,
that's
yeah,
all boards. and-
yeah, they don't record all of their boards.
And I think that's like closed caption.
Yep, closed captioning and all that would have to be included in it.
ADA compliant.
Yep, so if you get time,
$500 is
Drop in the bucket.
it's not even.
if you get time, an email to,
Our
through,
legislature.
ledge.mt.gov to our legislators, on that, and it's House
So
Bill 328.
This is a Montana bill?
Yes.
Missed that one.
New business, first thing up is, and Rich is not with us tonight, but Roadkill Car Club.
I vote that we approve the request for car shows in the visitor center parking lot for Roadkill Car Club.
And these are the second Wednesday of the months of June, July, and August. I have a motion from Councilman Merja,
I'll second.
a second from Councilman D. Questions?
No.
And I don't believe this is going to preclude him from helping us out on the 4th of July, correct?
Not as far as I know. Well, he'll be at the chamber meeting tomorrow as far as I.
Yeah. I won't, so you guys can comment, okay? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll reach out to Rich and let him know. Voting on number 2 is vote on task order 10, update of the zoning.
So.
Hold on, I need a motion.
I so move.
I have a motion to move forward on task order 10. From
Second.
Councilman D, the second from Councilman Merja. Now, Councilman Merja.
So. We are asking them to go forward with the zoning, with those packets that we were sent? Or are we beginning to look at those? I mean, what exactly is the,
You have not been sent any zoning yet, have they? I
No,
believe
he's
it's just
referring
been-
to the.
You're thinking subdivision.
Subdivision.
This is a whole new ball of wax.
yeah, okay, never mind.
So we have asked, Great West to help us with the zoning. Just the, kind of the back end of it, making sure it's all typed up and
So we,
polished.
so we're working on zoning and subdivisions.
Yes.
Simultaneous.
Got it.
One-
Okay.
And Colette's back there nodding with the microphone. If you're gonna have fun, you might have all the fun at one time.
Where we're at with that right now is we have requested help from Great West. Jerry Rubens has been helping us. They're not necessarily telling us what we should be doing. I'm telling them, we're thinking about going in this direction. Does that sound like good? And they're
Compliant.
helping us put it all together. That's good legal format. They have sent back my edits, which I would then have to bring to the zoning board and you guys and have a
Public
public
hearing.
hearing to accept the revisions that we're coming up with.
And Tom and Jody have done yeoman's work on it. Tom's done the majority of it, but I know he uses Jody as a sounding board. And what I've seen from Jerry's interactions with them, I'm very pleased.
One
ahead.
thing, Chris, and Tom probably is already aware of it, but Jerry did point out to me that the legislature is proposing a number of statutory changes that could affect how the zoning code updates move forward. So there may be some delay there, I guess, in finalizing those, just depending on the outcome of the legislature.
Yeah, if House Bill 337 passes, we'd have to change our zoning to minimum lot sizes to 2,500 square feet to build a house.
That was 337.
337. And they're expected to do executive action on that bill.
Thursday.
Yeah, I think so.
That's right. So I've got a question on kind of procedural questions on this. So is this what we've been talking about? The same thing, you know, we've talked about removing some facets of our city code that are ancient, kind of has cruddy language.
It's going from 8 to
So this is just zoning.
Just zoning.
This is not reflecting any of the other
No,
code that we've talked about in the past. Okay.
this is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 districts to
Okay.
3 or 4 at the max.
Okay. Yep. And then when we have the zoning, new verbiage, are we going to piecemeal it? Or can we do it all as one set
It'll go
holistic revision?
one policy revision,
Okay.
and then it'll go to the public hearing as one policy.
That's
revision.
okay. That's what I'm asking. Yep. Thank
And you
you.
can't do anything without the public hearing.
Yeah, no, of course. not.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just want to make sure we're not having multiple public hearings, multiple
Oh, no.
notices, just one and done.
What's a public hearing cost us, Neil?
1,500 a piece, isn't it?
Public hearing.
Yeah.
So depending on how many words are in your notice. And the bill in sets of 100, so I don't know how long your legal notice is going to be, but just for simplicity's sake, let's say that it's 100-word legal notice that you have to publish 3 times. That would be $30. Actually less, could be $10 the first week and then like $9 the second and third week. So $28,
Okay.
something like that. For 3, if it's 100 words, if it's longer than that, it would.
It grows.
So we just call it the zoning change.
Yeah.
Typically, they're not significantly.
Okay.
long. We just tell the place and time and the topic, and then all the code changes you present during.
I'm thinking elections. That's what I was thinking. Those are expensive.
Oh, they're expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you gotta send everything out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't have to do that with zoning.
Yep.
You just have to notice it.
Any other
Public-
questions?
Public hearing,
Tom?
A grant that's helping pay for.
Oh,
some of
wonderful.
this.
right?
Then we have a CDB.
I don't remember which type of grant it is.
I knew we had grant dollars also.
TSEC or CDBG or one of those acronyms.
Okay.
I would call the question.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Paulette? Do you have one of these ready to sign, Tom? So I can sign it tonight before I hit the road.
I think so.
All right.
I will note that we need to have Great West update our address.
Oh, yeah. Paulette, our street address on this is incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Outdated.
It's, yeah, we went from one door to the other door.
Oh, okay.
That door, that address is Mike's door. Our address is 100 First Street Northwest. It's coming around the corner.
Okay, I'll get that updated.
Okay, the next item is task order 6, amendments to phase 2 and phase 3 water projects. And that's why Colette is on board again. These are the preliminary design, final design, bidding, construction, post-construction phases as detailed. And work under this contract will not begin. This is the most important part. Work under this contract will not begin until the city provides written authorization to proceed. And that's what Colette's here, because we're waiting for some upwards of what, 800 and some, 820
823, it says here.
in grant dollars.
Yeah, and even more than that, really. So I just thought, I mean, it's a big number, it's a big contract, it's a big project, and we haven't talked about it in a minute. So I thought I would just hop on and just give a quick reminder as to what this is all about. So if you remember last year going through the preliminary engineering report process again, We selected this as our preferred alternative, and it includes constructing a new water storage tank as well as extending the water distribution system. There's about 12,000 feet of pipe to extend to users currently on private wells. So that's the phase, what we are calling the phase 2 and 3 water projects. Currently, what we're getting ready to build is the phase 1 project. So the grants for this, you have a number of different funding sources. This is the one that there's a MSEP, Montana Coal Endowment Program grant for $625,000 and an RRGL grant for $125,000 that Chris was in Helena recently to testify in support of. And then a rural development grant and loan package. And so they do have that rural development application. So we're waiting for them to get back to us with what that package will look like exactly. And then there is a local contribution as well. So, it appears that all of these grant programs or all of the projects are going to be awarded the MSEP and RGL grants. That is kind of the word on the street. You guys ranked very well with MSEP. I think you were number 12 out of 70 or 60 projects. I can't remember exactly. So it looks like you're going to get all your funding in place. The reason for the contract before the awards are actually made was at the request of rural development, which is why I put in the language that we're not going to get ahead of ourselves and spend all this money before you actually have contracts for all your grant funds. So yeah, it covers everything from design through the construction period for that phase 2 and 3 project that I mentioned. So I'd be happy to answer any more specific questions on the contract itself if anybody has any.
I was glad to be down there and testify. We were one of few. And I believe they only took live testimony from the 12 of us before they kind of went to break. And I don't know what they did when they came back because I left.
Yeah, there was some more testimonies. There weren't as many in-person ones. There was a few over Zoom and whatnot, but there was a handful more. But yeah, they made it through all the projects. Not all the projects had an actual person from the community testifying.
And again, the fact that we ranked well goes back to Jody, Tom, Mike, Colette, information gathering, collected, and getting put down together. Any additional questions? Mel, you got any questions?
Right at this moment.
Okay. Those in favor? Opposed? I will try and get that task order signed as well.
Yeah, no rush. I can even get it when I'm in town next. So
I'll be back. I'm heading out again, but I'll be back Friday.
This one here, I don't have task order 10, but I have the
Okay.
6 amendments.
Okay.
Oh, Chris, I actually sent hard copies in the mail, 2 hard copies of this full contract in the mail because I had them all printed and they're pretty thick contracts. So
Okay. Tom says he's got them.
yep. So you can keep one for yourself and send one back to us, and that would be great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you all.
Thanks, Colette. See you
Thanks,
next
Colette.
week in person or next time in person.
Yep.
So just as a point of order, did we have a motion and second on order 6 amendment 2?
I thought we did.
Called the vote, but I don't think we had.
Oh, we did not.
So I would move it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm looking above. I got it written down wrong.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilman D and a second from Councilman Capoli. Sorry about that. Thank you, Councilman D, for pointing that out. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item 4, vote on the revolving loan funds committee recommendation. You have before you, whoops, I gotta have a motion in it.
I move the adoption of the recommendation.
I have a motion to approve. I need a second before we can discuss.
I'll second.
I have a second from Councilwoman Capoli. Discussion. This came with a majority of approval from the revolving loan fund committee.
And so I'm looking at the application, the written application. It's a combo between 2 different. Right, the copy that we can do for 2 different businesses, Bucks Sporting Good and 2 Bucks
Two Bunks owns it.
So
Oh,
Two Bucks Inc.
Oh.
owns,
is the, yes.
Gotcha.
it's
Is the only,
Got it.
only entity.
Yep.
Got it.
And this would be their third loan, isn't that right, Tom?
Mhm.
Both of which have been paid back
timely.
timely ahead of schedule.
I'll call a question.
Those in favor,
Aye.
Nice.
opposed? It, we'll get it taken care of, let Jody know. Are you taking your abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
One abstention. The next one is item 5, vote on a personnel policy change, and this is an interesting one. And it's in your books, and this is from MMIA, our Montana Municipal Interlocal Authority. They're asking us to strike a paragraph that's currently in our handbooks, where employees may only bring personal firearms or other weapons onto City of Choteau premises or in City of Choteau vehicles with the express permission of the mayor and or their designee. All local, state, and federal rules, regulations, and laws pertaining to firearms and or other weapons must be followed by the employee. The City of Choteau, the mayor, and or his designee expressly reserves the right to revoke permission at any time for any reason. With the passage of in the last session of the concealed carry and open carry, we cannot ask.
Because it's not a constitutional carry state.
If you're carrying, I cannot ask to see your concealed. I have to take it at, so
So does the city vehicle not constitute an extension of the city property? In which, well,
you can still carry them in here.
even though it's a
Yeah.
government entity?
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
that's what it's saying, yeah. So there's no permission of the mayor needed because
Yeah, because
the state law says
again,
you can carry.
taking local control out of us, it's now at the state's level.
Got it.
So our other choice was to spend several $100s trying to revamp verbiage to this, send it to attorneys, have it reviewed, and hope to God it never got before the courts. So it was just, the best way to do it, which is what most counties are doing, or cities are doing of our size, striking it from the books.
I move that we approve the personal policy change.
I have a motion from Councilman Merja,
I'll second.
a second from Councilwoman Capoli. Mel, you have any questions on this one? Okay. Councilman Howard? Nope.
Concealed carry.
I know, and see, that's the thing, you can't ask. So, those in favor? Yeah, but you're the enigma, most people wouldn't. Last item is on the agenda is for approval tonight's claims.
Pay the bills.
I have a motion from Councilman Merger to pay the bills,
Second,
a second from Councilman B.
Next meeting I can carry.
I wouldn't tell you couldn't if you were carrying right now. I couldn't ask if you were carrying right now. So- I'm not. Any other questions on the bills? Those in favor of paying the bills,
aye.
Aye.
opposed? Any abstaining?
No. I made the motion, I better not.
Last thing tonight. We've been working with Lauren Solberg and some of the landowners up on 13th Avenue Northeast.
Mhm.
There is a platted 14th Avenue Northeast street up there. And they come to us at one point in time and asked if their concern was that we develop that into a street. And to be honest with you, on the north end of it, it's so steep. There's water issues, there's erosion issues, there'd be stormwater issues. So originally, one of the ideas was that they wanted us to vacate that street. And we did not want to do that because then half of the property goes to the landowners and the other half stays with us. And it was brought up to us that, well, let's do a resolution that you will not develop that street. Well, again, any resolution we do could be undone by another administration at a later time. And I understand where it gives those guys some consternation up there about it. So what we've talked about doing, and I threw this out to the cities last week, was a covenant between the city of Choteau and the Country Club Edition homeowners, 13th Avenue Northeast East Side property owners. And over the weekend, I kind of did my best to hammer this out. Gave it to Lauren. Lauren went through and did his Lauren Solberg on it and added the legal descriptions to it. But and I've talked, Jody's aware of it, Mike's aware of it. What it states is that the city affirms that there are several issues that prohibit the development of the right-of-way known as 14th Avenue Northeast into a viable street, included but not limited to steepness, potential erosion issues, potential groundwater issues, potential stormwater issues. We also affirm that the need for the city to maintain the easements for utilities, both current and future, as well as access to the entire length of the right-of-way known as 14th Avenue Northeast. The need for proper maintenance, weed control, fire suppression if necessary, being a good neighbor and taking care of things like that are there. That the issues of this have no bearing on the current use of right-of-ways for the avenues or the streets that go through there, 2nd and 3rd Street, because they actually do run through there and butt up with that. So these have no impediments or any restrictions on that. And the covenant, should it be fully executed, will permanently prohibit the right-of-way known as 14th Avenue Northeast from becoming a viable artery within the city. Those landowners up there agree, would have to affirm that we are body political, having self-governed empowerment, allowed for the creation, the presentation, the signing, and the necessary enforcement of the covenant. We are limiting any future development on the right-of-way known as 14th Avenue Northeast in a good effort to be a good neighbor, both current and future. The owners, current and future, may not use the right-of-way known as 14th Avenue Northeast in any manner that would prevent the city from accessing the road ROW for necessary uses, included but not limited to vegetation management, mowing if necessary, noxious weed control if necessary, fire suppression if necessary. As stated in the affirmations of the city, no construction of fences across the right-of-way, no restricting of access across the right-of-way, no structures across the right-of-way. And it goes into that, no planting of vegetation that would restrict the access. They couldn't store motor vehicles, running or not, included but not limited to automobiles, trucks, buses, RVs, boats, trailers of any sorts, all-terrain vehicles, utility vehicles, side-by-side vehicles, boats of any type. Nothing like that could be stored in there. And that the owners, current and future, shall deem the use of the right-of-way known as 14th Avenue Northeast as open spaces similar to that of a park for all uses, meaning no motorized vehicles other than those classified as a lawnmower, no use of burning of any kind, including but not limited to commercially manufactured or distributed fire pits, no use of fireworks as described in city ordinances, and littering or intentionally allowing for waste to accumulate is prohibited.
So forgive the country boy ignorance, but what's the difference between a covenant and a resolution? What's to stop the covenant from being rescinded on later?
The covenant would have to be rescinded by all of the landowners and the city together.
So it's
It's a higher bar.
It's a higher bar to set.
gotcha.
And the mayor Billings, but Mayor Cole was the one who sent, helped me wrap my brain around this most. This is truly handcuffing the city more than anything else out there.
Whereas a resolution could just be rescinded by the next council.
Yeah.
Next majority. Then.
Okay, this one has to be agreed on by the council and the landowners and.
All of the landowners would sign it,
Got
and
it.
we bring it to the council for a final approval. Now, there's a sticking point, as always. He's not sure all of the landowners up there will agree. There's one who may not. And that being said, he believes the rest of the landowners would be in favor of it. They would just amend it to
Opt out the
to
one.
opt out the one that doesn't want it.
And so do we need to put that on the agenda?
Not yet. I just making you guys
Okay.
aware of
Yeah,
it.
fair enough.
So I don't have any signatures on it. Lauren hasn't done anything with it yet. He was gonna take it around and
Polish it a little more.
and show it to the neighbors and see what they thought.
Any utilities that are now?
Tom, I don't believe there are.
They're just water lines coming down from the hill, I think.
Yeah, that come through here from the tanks.
Is there any like a 2-track road there?
There is a 2-track road that comes off the Second that goes up here, but this,
Yeah, but you're talking about 14th, right?
yeah, so this will be 14, but there's no 2-track road here now, no.
As you talked about fire.
Yeah.
So So there's really no way to drive anything back there.
No, because you know where that's on the north end of it is that repeater building.
Hmm.
So even if you were to put a street there, you'd have to change your right of ways because that sits right in the middle of that, right?
Well, and you can come up from the bottom a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, you can access the water tanks by coming up second.
Mhm.
And again, the covenant, this has no effect on the streets.
On the streets, yeah.
Okay. This was
Something
something,
like a good solution. to-
well,
Talk about it a little while.
Lauren brought this to us quite a while ago, and to be honest with you, I kind of let it slip because I didn't know how to deal with it. It was on Jody's plate,
Mhm.
and
We don't want to give up our rights for stuff that we need and we don't want, and yeah. I
yeah.
think this is a interesting solution.
So in dealing with Thomas Jodian at the MMIA, Leagues of Cities and Town, who's a certified planner, and he's like, yes, this is the way to do it. Because there is a way out, but it's a much more cumbersome way out. So just giving you guys a heads up that, and as we get closer, I don't know, he was talking about having it at Teton County Abstract for the people to sign,
Perfect.
or bringing them down here to
We
sign.
don't ever tell them.
But it was nice because he went and changed put the notary verbiage in here and did everything. I wrote all of it except for the legal stuff, and I was frustrated trying to do 2 signature lines, and it won't let you do 2 signature lines in Microsoft Word, and Tammy was wondering why I was yelling at a computer, but anyways, that's out there. Anything else for tonight?
I have a question. Resolution 898 is in our packet. Is that the one we did last meeting
That's the one that we do at
for
our
the
next meeting.
subdivision? Well, because it's dated, the dates are February 1, February 8.
That's when it was posted.
But so this is the resolution that we had last meeting. Just want to make sure that.
It's the
Okay.
subdivision.
Yeah, this is the subdivision ones that were posted on that day, and this will actually potentially approved at our next meeting.
Right.
Can you make an announcement about that,
Yes,
please?
our next meeting on 21 February will be a lunchtime meeting, and I will keep people up to date on social media. It will be a public hearing concerning our subdivision rules and the adoption of the subdivision rules for the city of Choteau going forward. We have a couple more things to get worked out, I believe, but they're just quick questions that they've got to answer for us about subdivision review and who has to approve them. Did the council have to approve them? And fees associated with that. That's all. Other than that, I will do my best to keep you guys up to date on what's happening in Helena. I'm staying away from that city this week. If you guys would like, every time the league sends me something that's affecting the cities, I can send it out for you to look at. It'll tell you what they are opposing and what they are supporting. And basically, in a nutshell, why they're doing that and what they're just monitoring and what they're not monitoring.
Just a quick question on the subdivision stuff. Isn't the counties still gonna get involved in all subdivisions? So they're gonna do the recordings, right?
They'll do the recording, Jess.
Okay, so everything, so wouldn't the county subdivision committee or?
It's a joint city county.
Okay.
And remember, the joint city county, correct me if I'm wrong, now, the joint city county could recommend we don't do it. But you are the ultimate voice for the city of Choteau.
Planning board is an advisory. board,
Yes, city county planning board is just an advisory board.
But you don't have to create a new board.
Yeah.
If you doing your own subdivision regulation, because there's already a joint city one that you can access.
We review them all, that anything in this county goes to that joint city county review board, and Mayor Tacky, I'll get even with you because he staffed that out. They review it, and then the county commissioners would approve it. The city of Fairfield, town of Fairfield would do it, town of Dutton would approve it, the city of Choteau would approve it. So the bottom line is the final choice lies right here with the 4 individuals at this table. Okay, nothing more. We'll see you guys 21 February at high noon. Thanks, everybody.